A Cure for Wellness is the new film from Gore Verbinski, who's the director of the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, the original 3 films, and also The Lone Ranger, which was released a few years ago to this downpour of, I think, unwarranted negativity. But it was an enormously expensive film, an enormously expensive flop. And so this is positioned as his comeback. Now, you would think if you were making a comeback after a disaster of that magnitude, you would want to make a safe bet or a kind of a low-key, easygoing movie. A Cure for Wellness is very conspicuously neither of these things. It's a psychological thriller about a financial whiz kid called Lockhart, who's played by Dane DeHaan, who is sent by his Wall Street firm to a Swiss mountaintop hotel and spa to bring back the CEO, who had went over for a holiday a little while ago and has somehow gone AWOL at this spa. So he's dispatched over there, and almost immediately when he arrives, he breaks his leg. So he has to spend some time recuperating at this spa as well, under the supervision of the resort director, whose name is Dr. Heinrich Vollmer. And he's played, of course, by Jason Isaacs, a great friend of this parrot. Exactly. Now, let me just ask you, if a character is introduced called Dr. Heinrich Vollmer, is he going to turn out to be nice or, not so nice? Hard to tell. Anyway, he indoctrinates, not indoctrinates rather, he kind of involves Dane DeHaan's character in the various treatments that are available at the spa, which are kind of mind-bogglingly sinister. Here is a clip in one that involves, like many of them, a large water tank and eels.
Are you ready, Mr. Lockhart? Then let us begin. Life on this planet first came from water. We spent the first 9 months of our existence submerged, our bodies mostly liquid. This sensory deprivation chamber simulates a return to that embryonic state. Think of it as a cleansing of the mind as much as the body. Some patients experience increased heart rate, visions, even primal memories. But rest assured, it's just the toxins leaving the system. Give yourself over completely to the process, and you will see the results. Keep a close eye on him.
Yes, sir.
And a guten Tag to Jason Isaacs.
You beat me to it.
Oh, were you going to say that?
I had that queued up and I was like, this is going to be so funny. But there we are.
Oh, no, go on, you do it.
No. It's
do
the moment's passed.
No, it hasn't gone.
Guten Tag to Jason Isaacs.
That was much better than I did. That was great. I like that.
There we are. So, there's eels in this tank, and there's a lot of kind of...
That's eels, isn't
eels,
it? Yeah, like the fish, not eels.
Yes, no, this is eels, yes. Who are swimming around in the aquifer under the spa and have some nefarious, strange, hard-to-fathom purpose. That the whole resort, actually, you quickly realise something is up. And quite exactly what is up is going to be metaphorical, because he is a Wall Street bad guy, a young, kind of cynical, almost like Wolf of Wall Street character kind of coming into this place. So what's going on at this spa is going to tell us something about big business and finance in the 21st century. So you've got the eels and the water going on. There's a strange young girl played by Mia Goth who's sort of wandering the grounds, looking ethereal and feathery and strange and windblown. And there's also stories of an evil baron who used to live on a castle on the site, who had this inappropriate relationship with his sister, and who was, the place was burned down by the local villagers in this kind of very heightened gothic-y way in the past. So something is up. And there's this idea that, when you're watching this, you're thinking, okay, so this is in the line of these films where is the main character going mad, or is there some bizarre conspiracy forming around them to prevent them finding out the true nature of what's going on? So, Shock Corridor by Samuel Fuller, Suspiria, the Dario Argento film, The Wicker Man, obviously Robin Hardy, and very, very particularly Shutter Island, the Martin Scorsese film. Dane DeHaan is even dressed like Leonardo DiCaprio in that film, the same kind of overcoat, the same hat. And it's the idea that he's kind of wandering around this institution trying to work out what's going on. The difference between something like A Cure for Wellness and Shutter Island is that Verbinski makes incredibly heavy weather of what's going on. This film is 2.5 hours long, and it's pitched this kind of shrill, gothic, maximalist tone it makes Tim Burton look like Ken Loach. Everything is amped up to the extreme. But actually, very, very little happens. It's kind of leafing through all these different phobias, like the eels. There's stuff to do with teeth, stuff to do with parasites, drowning, taboo relationships. So all these kind of strange phobias, but none of them are scary in and of themselves. It's almost like coffee table horror, where you're like kind of flipping through this book with a mochaccino and saying, oh, that's very sinister. Oh dear, I don't like the look of that. Oh. But it doesn't really engage with you on any more than a totally surface level. I have to say that, the sheer amount of effort put into this film and, to get the look of, it looks like, I think it was made for something like £30 million. It looks like it cost 3 times that at least. The production design is incredibly intricate and detailed. And elements of it, Jason Isaacs' performance is actually really, really great, because he comes across as a monstrous sadist, and he does it by not being sadistic at all and allowing, just the context of his remarks to do all of the heavy lifting in his part, so he can be incredibly ingratiating and kind and leave you with this kind of chilly finger running down your spine. But the culminative effect of it all, to me, is that it felt like an enormous waste of time, because it's 2.5 hours. You could sensibly cut, I think, and I'm someone who is very, very much behind the idea of a story takes as long to tell as it takes. But you could really trim about 45 minutes out of this, and it would only intensify what's already there, and you would lose nothing. The project just seems to have run amok in the most deranged, mad way possible. And I think it will have a group of serious fans, possibly people who haven't seen the films to which it's so heavily indebted and are impressed with this idea because they're encountering it for the first time. But to me, it just felt, at the end of it, you just kind of felt, what was all that time spent in aid of? I've not really been scared. I've been confused for a long time. I've seen a lot of eels, but really nothing more than that.
So it's not an eel-good movie. Let it go. The moment's gone.